Yesterday, I was talking to my niece. She's studying psychology. So she was just just sharing one of the topics that she has studied recently, where she was talking about one of the therapies that psychologists work out with their clients, in which the therapist cannot give any suggestion or the psychologist cannot give any suggestion. The only job of a psychologist is to listen to the client. So if somebody is stuck, they normally go to a psychologist, and what psychologist does is that they just keep asking the questions and let the client speak. So what happens is, when we are speaking, probably when we are not able to move forward, or there is some kind of depression, or we are confused about something, mostly we are in our head, we are thinking so much. And when we are in our head, so there will be some thoughts that will be positive. So when we are feeling positive, we get encouraged, but then there will be self-doubt, so there will be negative thoughts, and we start doubting ourselves. So there will be a lot of confusion. And when we are stuck, we don't know what needs to be done. So what normally she said that in this therapy, when the psychologist is asking the questions, the client opens up. And when we speak, from there we get clarity. And from the clarity, we get to know, okay, what is the problem and what is the solution? Because most of the time, as humans, we have the solution. Or maybe if you're not aware of the complete solution, but you know what needs to be done, okay, what direction you need to move. And once you start moving towards any direction, somehow you will figure out the way. So while I was listening to her, so it reminded me of my students, because I'm always thinking about how can I help my students. So most of my students, they are preparing for a GMAT, and even if you are preparing for any other exam, so for all the exam, there are two things. One, there is a theory part, and second is the approach to solve the questions. For example, you are studying for GMAT, and so there is quant. So in quant, you have to memorize the concepts. You have to understand the concepts. What happens is, when the students are studying the concept, they just study or read the concept. When we read, we are reading in our head. So when we read in our head, we think that, okay, I've understood. But in maximum cases, when you have to apply those concepts, you will face failure or you will face difficulty. Because you have read, and when we are reading, we are actually not memorizing. So to understand, you have to memorize the things, and when you memorize and then you apply, then you understand. So how do you memorize? So if you're studying for GMAT and you have to understand some concept, first thing is focus on memorizing. What I normally recommend to my students is that, okay, when let's say they take one topic where they're doing number system. So in number system, I take them, okay, take one topic, let's say it's cyclicity. So I ask them, read about cyclicity, okay, all the concepts, then take a piece of paper. And on that piece of paper, start explaining yourself what you have read. Assume that there is a student or there is a kid sitting in front of you, and you have to explain the concept of cyclicity to that student. And when you're doing that, okay, speak out loud. So when you speak out loud, you actually understand, have you understood that concept or not? So if you're able to explain it, that means you have understood that concept. You will not forget that concept again. But what happens is, we don't try to explain it. We keep reading it or keep revising it. Because when you read it first time, then you try to solve the question, you fail to apply the concept, and then you go back and revise the concepts. The revision doesn't help. Because see, what is revising? When you're revising the thing, it's like, just repeating the same thing that is there in your head, in your memory. Because only the first time when you read, that is the time when you read it properly. But is that clear, or have you actually understood the concept? You don't know. So if you're preparing or you're trying to understand something, learn to speak it out. Try this method, you will see a tremendous change in your understanding of a particular concept. Thank you.